All right, you guys, so sorry for the mix up today. We had the perfect storm of this was not going to work. So the fact that I'm even on here right now is like pure miracle. So thank you, Hannah. Hannah is Heather's oldest child and is doing backup for Heather, who is running to get pick up another child right now. And I am 2 hours away visiting my daughter and our grandbaby. So I'm here tonight so she and her husband can go to a Valentine's gift or date. I'm even in her bedroom trying to do this. And on the other side of the wall slash window is a bunch of men doing a bunch of construction work. So this has just been all around perfect storm. Okay, so we have a message here. I'm not going to read the whole thing, but basically the question that this mom has, which by the way, hundreds of mothers have this, thousands of mothers have this. We've all had this question, if not once, but even more so. Oh, Kelly, I think you are coming in now. I miss your face too, lady. We need to talk after this. We really, really need to talk. Okay, so talking about homeschooling. This mother has 5 kids, 3 are school aged, and her question is basically, how do you know that you're teaching all the right things to your kids, right? Like she has a child who wants to be a cosmetologist. How do you know as a mom that you're giving them everything they need as far as like the full curriculums, right? How do I know that they're getting the science, the math, the history, whatever they need so that when they become adults, they're not shorted because they were homeschooled? I think that's pretty much the gist of it, right? How do I make sure that I'm not short selling my kids because I homeschooled them and we unschooled? So I want to talk about this. Please throw in your questions as I'm talking in here. Love to have questions, and I'm happy to clarify in here. But I think this is one of the hardest things as homeschool moms, especially that those of us who've been public schooled, right? We keep wanting some way to assess that our children have what they need and some sort of guarantee that they'll have everything they need in the end. And really, we can't do that. So there are these measuring sticks we crave, but are non-existent. So I'm going to give you 3 things, just 3 things that you need to focus on as a homeschool mom, and everything else will fall into place. Okay, so here's my analogy here. I like to think of like, I don't know how many of you guys watch cooking shows, especially like the competition cooking shows of like Iron Chef or whatever. And the Iron Chef comes in and they give them like some funky ingredient, some weird meat, some weird dessert, something, and they have to mix it. And then they compete about who can make the most delicious dish. And these cooks come in and they're given all these ingredients. They have to create the dish. And in the end, they all come up with something tasty. It's all totally different meals. None of them are identical, but they're all delicious in their own way. Well, then, and I want to, hopefully I can make this clear. This is what I've been working on in my head. That's what we're doing as homeschool moms. Okay. Every single one of us are presented with the same-ish ingredients. We've got math and reading and writing and history and science, right? But inside those, there's a million different maths and a million different sciences and whatever. But when we're focused on our children's specific math, am I teaching enough math? Am I teaching enough science? It's like going back to Iron Chef and asking if they're using the right knife. When you're watching Iron Chef, are they still worried about what knife they're using, what spoon they're using, what spatula they're using? And do they ask the guy who lost, dude, you used the wrong spatula. If you had just used this spatula, you would have made it. And I feel like that's kind of where we get stuck as homeschool moms. We're too worried about the tools that need taught and not enough about the recipes and the possibilities and where we're leading our children. So I'm going to help you with that today. Okay. Math is a knife. They need the tool. They need to know how to use the tool. They need to know the best way to use the tool. They need to know how to dice and chop and slice and all the different things. But does it really matter in the end what knife they use? No. Does it really matter in the end what spatula they use because of this spelling program or that grammar program? No. So there's 3 things that as a homeschool mom you focus on, and all that other stuff will just fill in. So number 1, the number 1 thing you want to start focusing on, if you're not already, and it's literally like going from, okay, how do I know I'm getting enough math in their schedule every day, to, okay, now let's go back. And if they're 20 years old right now, what do I really want them to know? I want them happy. I want them healthy. I want them. So, what does that require? Well, okay, they need body first. Okay, I'm a big fan. If you work on their body first, you teach your children how they feel, teach them to read and feel their bodies. When I eat this, I feel like this. When I have too much red dye, I struggle with ADHD. When I don't eat enough vegetables, I feel sluggish. When I eat too much junk food, I don't feel good. When I don't get enough sleep, I'm tired and the rest of my day struggles. You help them reflect, understand how what they're doing with their body today affects their life. Now, most of us were not taught this. We were raised in the public school system where suck it up, push through, get it done. That doesn't work in homeschool, you guys. So instead, it's like, okay, you didn't sleep, you tossed and turned all night. Why is that? Let's make sure you got all the sleep you needed. If they're a teenager, they need 12 hours of sleep. If they're not getting 12 hours of sleep, start there. So you start with sleep, eat, exercise. Because if they're not doing those three things, if their bodies are not healthy, the rest doesn't matter because their bodies have taken over. And this is especially true for teenagers. You have to make sure that they're, especially nowadays, because we have so much crap in our food, our teenagers are getting screwed up big time with their hormones. Check their hormones, check their thyroids, check their iodines, just get them to a doctor, make sure that everything adds up, whatever kind of doctor you use. Sleep, eat, make sure they have the nutrients they need, right? Make sure that they're moving so their brains can move better, especially ADHD children, and they need movement more than anyone. Those three things, okay? Number one, body. Once the body is in check and they're healthy and there's no other reason for them to not be able to study during the day, you work on their spirit. Because if their body is working, their spirit is next, and their spirit now needs attention. So how do you work on the spirit? It's about relationships with God. It's about relationships with family. It's about doing things that bring you closer to Christ. It's about scriptures, prayer, music, the types of things that your soul craves. Now, if you've got the body lined up and you've got the spirit where it's like, I know who I am, I know what I'm doing, I know I'm here. The third thing you're going to work on is the brain. Okay, body, spirit. Now work on the brain. Now you can go in and work on the academics. Academics, guys, is third in line here. If they're not feeling good, have you ever tried to get your kids to do homework on a sick day? That's why you got to get rid of the sick days or take off when you need. Now work on the mind. And as you're working on that mind, this is where your academics come in. But it's not about the math and the reading and the science. Those are just tools. It's about helping them love to learn. Okay. It's about teaching them how to learn. The most vital thing you can tell your kid is, I don't know. That is the most important thing when your child says, hey, mom, and has a question for you. Even if you know, say, I don't know. Let's figure it out together. Let's go look it up. Let's find out why, how, whatever. And what you're doing, the most important thing is you're teaching your children how to take a question and find the answer, whether it's library, whether it's YouTube, whether it's Homeschool Villages program, whatever it is that you're using. This is where you go, okay, I don't know, let's find out. And while you're finding out, you're learning the math and the spelling and the reading, and these are all tools to help you find out the answers to your questions. So what happens is at the end of these 18, 20 years of homeschooling, your children know how to keep themselves healthy. They know how to keep their spirits filled, and they know how to learn anything they want. So now, if you never got to science, it's okay, because your child is a whole person and they will fill in the holes themselves. Now, I've seen this happen firsthand. My oldest child is married now, and she is her cute husband is just like this academic. Okay, mega academic. He grew up in Saudi Arabia. His parents had money. He went to private schools with princes. So this kid had the best of the best education-wise growing up. And so here he marries this homeschool child. And for the first year, it caused a little contention between him and I, because he would be like, why didn't you teach your children about World War II? And I would say, I didn't, because I tried to. They were so sensitive. They weren't ready. He's like, well, I learned it in the 5th grade. I said, so what? What did that do for you? Did you really need that in the 5th grade? Or did you need that? So now he and she are studying the World War II together. She's interested now. I couldn't get her to even look at a book because it terrified her to discuss wars. As a small child, we tried as teens. I tried multiple times. She wouldn't have it. She's sensitive. Now that she's an adult, She knows how to find answers. She loves to learn. She knows how to find her health and make it where it needs to be. She knows what to do with her spirit when it's struggling. And she knows how to look things up that she doesn't know. And she is filling in the holes I left behind. So, number one, so just realize you're leaving holes. Okay. You're not going to cover it all. You just move forward every day, teach the skills that come along. But when you teach a child that every question has an answer if we look hard enough, your children will start to ask the questions. They'll be at the grocery store with you and ask about money and how it's used. And all you do is live life alongside, and your children will ask about the money. And then like my husband and I will, when we got a loan for a home, we sat down with the kids and we showed them what it was like. Here's what the house actually costs. We're going to pay this much interest. We're putting this much down. So in the long run, after 30 years, this is how much we're really going to spend. Can you imagine if mom and dad had the cash up front? We just talk. We explain everything. My kids know exactly what my husband makes. Every 2 weeks, the paycheck comes in. They know exactly how much it is. They know where the money went because it's gone because we have 5 kids, right? They know where that money is going. They understand that more money would allow for these things. There's no secrets in our house. So our children are learning all of this as they go along. And I have a 17-year-old son now who says, Mom, I want to make more than that. I want to be able to do these things with my life, but still live like this. I'm like, great. And we talk about how much you're going to have to make, interest, percentages, investments, savings. If I don't know it, I find someone who knows it, but he now knows to ask. So all of the reading, the writing, the math, just do it. That's not where your stress should be. That will continue to come. They'll get better. Everything that is learned in the elementary or in the system for 12 years in math can actually be learned in less than 2 years once they're like interested. If a child in the teenage years can learn 12 years worth of math in less than 2, once they're interested, we think that we need to do this for 12 years. We don't. Most of the education that is taught can be done in a complete amount in less than 4 years. So don't stress about whether or not they're getting enough math, whether or not your children will get it at different levels, different times. What you need to work on is their bodies, their spirits, and their minds. That is where the focus needs to be. And if you're focusing on those 3 things, help them understand, like it's a constant battle, right? Are you hungry? You're grumpy. Have you had protein today? You don't feel good. How much sugar did you eat? It's a lot of conversation, to the point where sometimes it's so much conversation, like at night, I go and turn on a movie in my bed, and I'm like, and my husband comes in, he's like, oh, we'll spend time together. I'm like, please don't talk to me. I love you, honey. No more voices. I'm sure you guys have all been there. I know you have. Does that make sense? What questions do you have, Kelly? Thank you. Genius. Appreciate that. I have learned after watching now my adult children, I have 3 adult children, 2 still left at home. And I have learned that those are the 3 important things in that order, because their spirits suffer when they don't feel good. We are actually about to enter into a sick phase in our home. My 17-year-old is about to have serious back surgery. And he's a humpback. He looks like the humpback of Notre Dame. His back just curves. They're going to go in and straighten him out, and he's going to get taller. But because of it, he's going to be totally unable to do physically much for several months. And so we know that this is also not the time to be focusing on his education. We're going to pull back on his education. We're not even touch it. If he feels like he wants to read a book or get into something, fine, but we're not going to be pushing anything education. Why? Because his body needs time. And I found this specifically with children during teenagers. Okay, you've got your toddlers who grow a bunch. Teenagers need this time. We as parents start to really drive our teenagers. Why aren't you driven? You sleep too much. And I think this is the worst time to drive a teenager. This is the best time to make sure that their bodies are getting everything they need. Their spirits, they know who they are as a child of God, and they hear his voice and they communicate with him. And then let the brain take care of itself. If those first 2 things are met, the third one takes off, because God inspires them. God guides them to the next level. God helps them to get to the next spot. Then you don't have to. He does better anyway, in my opinion. Sonia, it's so good to see your face. Can I just tell you thank you for putting your face in there? Okay, questions. Yes, kids need sleep. I am a sleep Nazi. When my toddlers were young. Sonia, you're going to come on? I don't even know if I can put you in or not. Or are you just watching? Can't hear you either. Sorry, Heather's not here, so I can't like turn on mics and turn them off and stuff. I can't hear you. I don't know if anybody else can. Okay, Heather said she's coming. When she comes, I would love to get your voice on here. Oh, is she coming?
What?
Oh, okay. Sonia was trying to say something. I couldn't hear her. I was going to see if you could put.
Sure.
There she is. Hi. Oh, why is she muted?
There.
There you go. Sonia.
How's that?
There we go. Thank you for being here. What were you saying earlier? I'm sorry.
Oh, I was saying we're outside. We have a stump to burn. So the kids are burning a stump.
Fun!
So
Good.
we have a dog, and we had a big silver, well, I call it a bowl. It's not really the silver thing here, whatever you call that thing. And we had it over the stump so the dog wouldn't run through it. So I'm like, you know what, let's get out and burn that today. So they practice their safety skills.
Oh, I love it. I love it. I love the kids. I love helping kids play with fire and knives. I think it's important. It builds character and confidence.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So plus we have to get it burned before the fields start getting planted around here because we're surrounded by fields. So
where are you?
In Illinois.
Oh, okay. It looks kind of warm. Aren't you supposed to be cold right now?
Yeah, it is actually warm. It's a really nice day. So I'm like, let's get outside.
Good for you guys. So jealous right now. It is freezing out here. I'm so done with winter.
Yeah, like the sun's out. It's kind of a little breezy, but not bad. So we're going to take advantage of it.
Oh, good. Cool. Well, thank you for being here on such a gorgeous day.
Yeah. I'm like, well, might as well see what else going on in my homeschool village.
Good to have you.
Yeah, thanks.
So you didn't have any questions. Did anybody else have any questions, Heather, that you can see coming in? I can't see all the comments, which makes it a little tough.
No, and I don't even know why there, my camera's on now. No, I literally walked in the door when I heard you say, oh, Heather, something. Okay, I'm here.
What are we drinking?
Water.
Oh.
Yep. Well, I had coffee, but this is actually just ice because the kids brought me some ice.
I have a bet with Lauren to see who can go the longest without Coke or soda. So it's not worth $20 to me for a Coke. So
it is to me. I feel like you're funny. Give me my drink.
Okay, so what about like Olipop or Poppy? Those are the healthy sodas. So do they count or no?
I can have sparkling water.
Mm.
That's it. Oh. No, she had one energy drink and I almost busted her on that one, but then I gave up and said, nah, that's a slip. It's okay. We didn't clarify. It's all right.
That's fair. I do find we do better at my house when we're not on caffeine. I like dark sodas make me sleepy, even with the caffeine, but a Mountain Dew doesn't.
No.
And I know they're terrible for me.
So people basically weren't very patient. I'm answering a lot of questions like, is Becky on? Is Becky? You were only like 6 minutes late. You weren't that late.
Well, by the time I was working, so are people still coming on or no?
I'm respirating, I think.
Sorry, you guys. You can see I'm not even like my cute daughter let me in her bedroom. I'd let.
Right. So did you answer that question?
We're having weird problems. What?
Did you answer the question about how to know if you're doing it?
Yes. No. Okay. There's a weird microphone.
Oh, it might be me because I'm outside. I can mute again. You can take me off now.
Sorry.
Okay. No, I like seeing you. No, well, you can stay.
I'll mute the microphone. Maybe it's the wind from being outside.
Oh, that might be it. Okay. Well, you can come and go as you please, my dear. Yeah, so we did. So we're talking about instead of focusing on the tools, like I gotta start over. Come on. I get inspired.
No, okay. So I totally lost you. I heard about the sleep and all that stuff, but okay, so how do I know that my 12th grader is ready to graduate? How do I know he's doing enough?
You throw him out into the world and see how he does. I'm like, you don't. You really don't. You just give him wings and push him out of the nest. And this is, I think, such an interesting question. How do I know they're doing enough? Because the question is, it's almost like saying there is a level of you have achieved and you move on. And we seem to think that the public school systems provide that for us. And even though they say that our child is now graduated, therefore they have these things checked off, there's really nothing there that says that your child really learned it or really knows it or can really apply it, or that they're prepared for the real world. And if anything, I have found, I'm watching as my children and my nieces and nephews are going from high school to adulthood. And the biggest difference I'm seeing in our kids is we're all the same religion. We're all very religious. We're all good parents. We're all like involved in our children's lives. Our kids are all good kids. But what the biggest difference I'm seeing in my homeschool children versus the public school nieces and nephews is the public school nieces and nephews are still waiting to be fed information. And if they don't have information, they're lost. Whereas the homeschool children I'm seeing know how to go out and find what they're looking for. I don't have this information. I'm going to go look in these places I've been taught until I find it, and I'm going to figure it out versus, oh, shoot, now what? Where do I get this? And that's what I'm noticing the biggest difference is in the public school kids. They still want spoon-fed. They don't want to go out and figure it out themselves. They don't even know how to teach themselves necessarily. And they're more scared, interestingly. I'm finding more fear in my public school nieces and nephews than in my homeschooled children and other homeschooled children I know. I'm seeing the homeschool kids ready to take on the world. Like, let me at it. And I'm seeing the public school kids go, what if I do it wrong? And you're like, you might. So what? You know, that's where we learn. And I think that is the biggest difference I've seen in the last 20 years. Is a homeschool kid's not worried to do it wrong. They're ready to just dive in. And a public school kid has been taught there's one right way and there's a wrong way, and they don't know which way to go. And that to me is the biggest deal. I love that my children can figure it out. I love that one of my favorite answers when, hey mom, how do I don't know, you can figure it out. Some things I need to show them. Some things I teach them, right? I'm not just that mom that's like, not my problem. I'm some days. We show them how to cook. We show them how to clean. We show them how, but they get to a point where it's like, sweetheart, figure it out. And I think God does this to us. I think as adults, we get to a point where we're still like, Heavenly Father, do I go left or right? And he's like, oh, sweetheart, you're a big girl now. Don't you think you could probably pick on your own and I'll correct you if you're wrong? And I feel like I get that a lot. Homeschooling has taught me a lot about how God works with me, because my kids, if they're going to ask me about every little thing and I'm like, would you think for yourself, please? Whereas I think God does that to me too. And he gives me the same attitude I give my kids because that's, he talks to us in our own language. And there's times where I'm like, but Lord, what about? And he's like, sweetheart, you're a big girl now, go figure it out. And I go, okay, let me know if I screw this up, and I know you'll catch me or not. Either way, I'll learn. So I think it's important. We forget that the big picture isn't just about math. It's not just about, will I teach them all the writing skills they need? It's about, can they take care of their own bodies to stay healthy? Do they know where to go for their answers heavenward, right? Do they know how to go to God and how to listen to him? And do they know how to learn on their own? Everything else will take care of itself.
So I agree 100% as your friend and business partner. And I'm also going to give the Purdue University explanation on how I know if my child is ready for college.
Okay.
You want to hear their grand philosophy for my homeschool child to go to school?
Yeah, let's hear it.
Okay. They said, write out a transcript, send it in. If they fail their classes, then we'll know you lied. Otherwise, it doesn't really matter because you're paying tuition.
That's the attitude right there.
Right. And they said it jokingly. I mean, they weren't mad. They were just like, at the time they weren't taking SAT scores. My husband's a stickler, so he made them do the SAT, but sorry, Sonia. But yeah, that's what a Big Ten college said when we called and said, hey, my child's a homeschool student. What do I need? They're like, we just need your transcript. I said, well, how do you know I didn't lie on the transcript? They're like, well, when they fail, we'll know. So I was like, okay, well, and Hannah just said, I haven't failed yet. No, she's got, You 3.9 or 4.0? Very close to 4.0. She's on the dean's list. So
Oh, good girl.
as a graduated homeschool child. So
There you go. I love that. My college kid did just fine on all her tests. What I find too is the homeschool child goes into college without the intimidation factor that they grew up with in the public school. You know, in the public schools, you're constantly everything's based on fear of failure, fear of not getting it right, fear of someone making fun of you, fear of standing out in the wrong way, and a child who's grown up at home in the safety of their home where people love them, when they get out into the world, like that doesn't even cross their mind. What do you mean I need to fit in with other people? You mean people might make fun of me if I don't do it their way? That's weird. You know, that fear of a test. My children who've taken tests outside, you know, they graduated and then they went into adult stuff and they had to take a test. And to them, it was just another assignment. It wasn't something to be afraid of. Oh, here's Henna.
hello. So
Cute.
were you afraid going to college?
No.
Okay.
Were you
I mean,
afraid
maybe
to go?
nervous, but not like fearful.
What were you saying, Becky?
Have you ever felt behind because you were homeschooled?
I have to think about that. I always had the fear that I was behind, but at the end of the day, everybody kind of feels like they're not prepared. So there might have been things I need to be caught up on here or there, but yeah, for the most part, I was on track with everyone else. In fact, I always say that I feel like homeschooling was kind of beneficial because I went so long being like in charge of my own schedule and keeping track of all my homework assignments and stuff that when I entered college, that's basically what it is. You're just self-regulating all the time, except now you see people like 2 or 3 times a day. So,
There you go.
yeah.
Isn't that awesome?
I might be a little biased though. I don't know.
Hey, that's okay.
You may go.
Does that help anybody? Does that help you? I don't even know if she's still here. I hope so. Lacey. I don't know if Lacey's in Instagram with us right now and if she got to hear that, because that was for you, Lacey. Hopefully all of that helped you with your kids and understanding, and hopefully gave you a little bit of peace of mind about your family and where you're headed. Probably not the answer you thought you were going to get, though. Sometimes I want to come up with a calculator. Well, add this kind of math plus this type of spelling and end up, if you get any lower than 100%, you need to, we're not, sadly, it doesn't work that way. I had the funny experience I'll share with you real quick. We had, my son and I have been going to VASA together, and he's 17 and he's looking buff. Like the kid is working out. Well, I've been going to VASA for 10 years and pretty regularly. I don't look like it because I'm 48 years old. But the other day he saw the app and a little thing came up on his saying, "Congratulations, you just hit 500 workouts. Good for you. Yay," whatever. And so he pulled up my app and he goes, "I got to see how many times you showed up," because he thinks he's beaten me because I haven't worked out for like 3 months because I was sick. And he pulls up my app and my app says like 1,300 workouts. And he goes, "Whoa, Mom, did you see that you worked out 1,300 times at VASA and I only have 500? I said, "Yeah." He goes, "But that's crazy." I said, "Why? Because I don't look like you?" And he goes, "Well, kinda." And I thought, you're right. I don't look like a 17-year-old boy who's worked out 500 times. I look like a 48-year-old woman who went to work out to keep herself from killing her children every day. So to me, exercise was therapy, you guys. I went to make sure I could get off the ground after playing with my children. I went to work out so that I would get all my frustrations out at the gym, not at my children. I got out. That was sometimes the only time I got out of the house was an hour in the morning, right? I went 1,200 times, and to me, that shows my progress on that is that I have healthy children who, I don't know, maybe they'll need therapy after they're done with me, but for now they don't. And I'm healthy because of it. I don't have some perfect little beach body, not putting on a bikini anytime soon, but the progress is different. He looks like a buff 17-year-old boy because he's a buff 17-year-old boy. I look at like a woman, and I've worked out 3 times more than him, 4, whatever. The point is you cannot really look at progress across the board. You have to go, have we moved forward today? Are we smarter than we were yesterday? Have we, let's compare ourselves maybe for a year ago. A year ago, let's look at what we were doing. Okay, we're progressing. And that's really what you have to do for yourself, not on a daily basis. Can I just say, don't do that on a daily basis? Consistency does not mean daily. Consistency means regularly. Regularly can mean weekly, monthly, yearly. So if you're consistently checking your progress, you can check once a year and still be consistent. So don't even get me started on consistency. I can't tell you how many years I beat myself up over the fact that I could never do anything daily. Other than get up and eat, go to the bathroom. There's days I can't even get my teeth brushed daily, let alone the rest of that stuff. So come on, y'all know what I mean. Little babies at your feet while you're going to the bathroom. Yeah. Sonya's shaking her head, right? Like, that's like the high five mom. You know you're a mom when you look at the date and you go, it's Wednesday? Did I brush my teeth this week? You start to go, ugh. Yeah, we've all had them. I highly recommend joining an exercise gym. That's what treadmills are for. How to get rid of this stress. Homeschooling's not easy, you guys. It takes one tough mother to be able to homeschool her children. But you know what? It has been worth every ounce. Now my kids are my best friends. They always have been. But to watch my 17-year-old and my 19-year-old and my 20-year-old seek me out daily because they just like being with me is the greatest blessing I've ever received. Do they have holes in their education? Yes. Do they know how to fill them when they really want to? Yes. And it gets to a point where it's like, I taught you how to learn, guys. The rest is on your own. You can do it. You'll be fine. Okay. Any questions? Anything I can help with specifically? Any specific homeschooling issues anybody's having that maybe I can address today, other than what we had that question from that mom? Because we've got about 8 more minutes that I can help in any way. Heather's on the phone, so Heather can't tell me. Heather, get off the phone! I can see her on there. I need to know if people are commenting in Instagram or Facebook, and if I can answer.
Nobody's commenting. Nobody's commenting.
Fine. Can't help you then. Love to, though. Oh, Kelly says a good homeschool day is, did we learn one new thing and did anyone cry? Amen. And you know what? I have to say, I have one child, same 17-year-old right now. He's my middle child. There were days that I counted it a successful homeschool day because he was still breathing. He was the one, still is the one who was always hurting himself, had a concussion, broke something. He was my bounce off the walls kid, literally. And he also knew how to push every button I had. He taught me patience more than any other child that I've had. And there were days that I thought, if he just survives today, because either he didn't get hurt or I didn't kill him, I am successful. And some days that's all I could take. And that's okay too. I had to get my 11-year-old to work every day for a couple of hours. Okay. Amanda, what are you using for motivator? Their motivator is a big deal. And for those of you who think that motivator isn't, I can give you a million reasons why motivation is the key. Because in life itself, everything we do is motivated by something. Because I want money to pay the bills, because I'm hungry, because I want that cute outfit, because I want to go on a vacation. And a lot of it is financially rewarded, sadly, because I want to read a good book, whatever. So what is their motivator? I have found that every child is different. Their motivation and what they want is different. And to find out what that motivator is and then adjust accordingly. So are they boys? My 11-year-old boy loves to be on the computer. He does. He wants to play Minecraft. Why do you think we created Virtual Village Kids, you guys? Because we knew that there were a lot of 11-year-old or all ages of children out there who are motivated by a computer. Fine. You want the computer? You want to play with friends on the computer? I will make you, I'll make that happen. But first, you're going to do these things. And it's really about sticking to that, making sure that you are doing what you say you're going to do. The public school here no longer teaches cursive. What is your opinion on this? Is this part of your curriculum? All right, you asked for it. Okay, you asked for my opinion. I think the worst thing we can do is stop teaching cursive, and here's why. Number one, the Declaration of Independence, the Constitution are written in what? Cursive. If your children cannot read cursive, they eventually will be able to tell us what they think or what they want us to believe is in the Constitution, and we won't be able to read it ourselves. So that's number one for me. Cursive, yeah, we have cursive in our program, by the way. If you're looking for the cursive for the system, we've got posters in there that you can buy, or the poster's free inside the village. And you can put it on, you can print it out, put it on your wall and do it. So if you're looking for cursive posters, we have those. They're free for all of our members. That's number one. Number one is your children need to be able to read antique documents that define our country on their own without a translator. This is where the Bible went wrong, you guys. Let's go back to history a little bit. Why were there so many translations of the Bible? Because they didn't teach people to read, because they didn't want them to read the Bible, because they wanted to be able to control what was being taught and how it was being taught. And these were evil men who, right? We know this story. Same thing with cursive. They're cutting out cursive because our antique documents that rule the nation are written in cursive. Number one. Number two, all your ancestry is written in cursive. I don't know how many of you are like Ancestry. I'm a big believer in Ancestry. Part of our children's education is going back and doing Ancestry and connecting their ancestors. We have trees back to, holy cow, how many years now? I think we've got one line back to like the 600s. It depends on the line you follow, but we've got some back to the 1600s, back to the, like, antique documents are in cursive. Your children will not be able to find ancestors or tie them in, and they will not be able to read antique documents. Not to mention, the handwriting, brain-eye coordination is an artistic skill. It's a creative skill. So when you're teaching cursive, you're teaching an artistic brain skill that goes along with other things like painting, inventing, things like that. So do I believe in cursive writing? Oh, yeah. I think the children who can read cursive in 20 years are going to be way ahead of the kids who can't. And they're going to be the ones translating the Constitution for those who can't read the cursive. Fernandism, what? I said the very same thing to her teacher about the Declaration of Independence, and ever since her teacher has not allowed her to keep writing cursive, and I don't want her to lose it. So ever since you told the teacher that, the teacher refuses to let her learn cursive? Did I just understand that right? Did I really? I'm like, whoa. I said the very same teacher about the Declaration of Independence, and ever since her teacher has not allowed her to keep writing cursive. Oh my gosh. Can you see the problem with our public school system, you guys? Yeah. Pull your child now. Sonia says, get your child out of there. What else are they doing? Like, yike. Are you kidding me? Yeah, pull your child. Please let me help you homeschool. Your kid deserves better. And so do you, quite frankly. Yeah, we teach cursive. It's important. Our kids need to know. Sometimes I'm amazed. You would think a teacher would be more open-minded. So that's really surprising. My son was able to read a thank you letter in cursive to his Boy Scout. Most couldn't. Yep. Yeah, it is. I mean, and I know where they're coming from. It's all computer now. It's all typing now. It's all texting now. No, you're cutting out vital information from an entire generation. That's huge. And people who don't see that, wow. Your child learned overseas. Oh, okay. Yeah, it's really sad. High school kids can't read or write cursive. I know. And it is, and a lot of people think it's unnecessary. It's because they're not thinking big enough. You've got to think bigger. I want my children to be able to read the Declaration of Independence, the Constitution, all of those documents on their own. And who knows what else is out there? Did you know, like, all of the do-good letters, this silence do-good letters, all of those documents that really created the United States of America, all in cursive. So everyone's shocked he's a middle schooler. I believe you. It's really sad high school kids can't read oh, sorry, I did see that. Yeah. The skills that are being lost drives me crazy. You know what else isn't being taught well and they brush by? Percentages, decimal points. Why, to me, those are the two most important math subjects you can teach. Decimals and percentages. Why? Because if you don't understand a percentage or a decimal point, you're going to pay a ton of interest. If your children don't understand what an 8% loan is, they will be paying up the wazoo for interest loans for the rest of their lives. But if they understand the interest and they understand it enough to negotiate, guys, negotiation. There's a topic that needs to be constantly worked with your kids. They need to understand how to negotiate a lower price on a car, a house, anything. Like, they need to be able to negotiate. They need to know what percentages are. They need cursive. When should I expect to teach my kids cursive? First, do print. Work the print. And don't move to cursive until they're comfortable with print. I tried to push cursive too soon on some of my kids, and it backfired, and I had to pull way back, and then it took me longer. So make sure their print is good. When they're comfortable writing even a paragraph in print, then you can maybe start moving to cursive. I personally don't even like moving to typing until they've got cursive down, because they get frustrated because typing can be so fast. So I like to hold off on typing until at least 3rd or 4th grade. I think 3rd grade-ish, depending on your child. Some kids write later. My boys started not until they were like 11, whereas my girls were like 6 because they thought it was pretty. So it just depends on where your child's at. The way math is taught is also ridiculous. They're actually confusing her with all these strategies. Okay, you want me to tell you? I'll tell you a story about that one now. Okay, I'll get my older daughter to do more cursive. Yes. Yes, do. So yeah, I wouldn't use, so math, Common Core math is ridiculous. And here's our testimony on that. My husband is a NASA engineer. He does upper level math. He's a rocket science, literally. And we were in a school because at the time we were trying to think, it was like a charter. We were trying to decide if my 1st grader wanted to do this charter school. And we go in, we do an interview with the teacher, and we hear about this Common Core. And my husband, I'm sitting here talking to the teacher. My husband pulls out a Common Core math book, and he starts flipping through, and he's just curious. And he stops and he looks at this book, and he just stands for a while. Now, my husband's very humble about what he does for a living. He doesn't tell people. And he's sitting here. He stops and he looks at this problem in the book, and he's there for a while. And I kind of noticed, and I was like, honey, what's wrong? And he turns to the teacher, he turns the book around, and he puts it in front of her, and he said, could you please do this problem for me and show me how it's done? 1st grade math, guys. The teacher stared at it, turned bright red, and she goes, I don't know. And my husband just got a little bit, and he said, excuse me, I am an engineer for NASA, and I don't know how to do this problem, and you expect my 1st grader to figure it out? And she just went red. She had no words. And he looked at me and he said, I think we'll be homeschooling again this year. And we left. And I was like, okay. He never says, I'm always the outspoken one. He's always so quiet. And he was like, never again will our children touch the math that are in these places. This is not math. And he has taught them math ever since. I homeschooled my 4 older kids through high school and my 15-year-old until this past year. We just transitioned her to public charter school that is history driven. She knows cursive. Good for you. Good. Okay, you guys, I've got another meeting I got to get to. I'm sorry for being late today, but thank you so much for coming in and for your comments and all that you guys have done. Let's see. Did I get all the comments? Do I need to hit anything, Heather? How come now they're popping up? Oh,
because I think this is the time of day. It's 3 o'clock my time, which.
So now we have people on. I don't want to cut off.
Yeah, they always come on right around this time.
Do we need to move this later?
Sure, unless you want to talk for 2 hours.
Well, I can start doing 2 hours because I find that the first hour nobody shows, and then everybody pops on and sticks around. But I want to do what's easiest for our homeschool moms. I think noon might be a little early, or 1, whatever time it is for you. Might be a little early because you're still working on your homework and lunch.
Right.
But
yep, that's good. Are we doing a giveaway today?
Yeah. Do you have something I don't? I can. You want to do a draw a name? It's for the people inside the homeschool village. Well,
we have Amanda and Sonia here. So
Amanda and Sonia, I'm going to send you something. How's that?
Yep. We'll just send it. And is that Amanda Vigil?
I don't know which Amanda it is.
Sorry. I shouldn't tell people's last name. Okay.
Yeah. We just need to make sure we have your addresses. If you'll Heather, if you'll send me a message, I'll get it done tomorrow.
All righty. Of course, they don't have a pen, but yeah, I'll do that.
Amanda and Sonia, but I don't know, Amanda, which Amanda is this?
I know which one.
Okay, you see it? Okay.
Yeah.
I don't. Okay, well, I gotta go. I'm gonna go get on this other meeting, and thank you guys so much for being here today. I hope this helped. I hope we answered questions for you, and We will see you next week. Yes.
Are you going on TikTok tonight or not because it's Valentine's Day?
Oh, you're right. Should I not?
I don't. So that was what my phone call was. We don't do anything for Valentine's Day, so I didn't think about it. And then all of a sudden, Michael's like, "Hey, do you want to go out to eat? We'll drop the kids off at youth." And I was like, "No, I'm not
Yes!
ready." No.
You look fun. You say yes when your husband says, "Could you want to go out?" You're like, "Yeah, but I'm going in my sweats, but we're still going."
No, we'll do something Saturday. I don't want to go. I hate going out on the day.
Okay, that's true. I won't go out on the day. I'm not sitting in line for 2 hours just because of the date on the calendar.
Right. So that's what the phone call was me like, no, I already like got stuff out for dinner. Like I'm
Like,
good.
stay home, we'll cuddle. The kids will be gone. Let's just go cuddle, watch a movie.
That's fine. So I mean, I can show up live. I don't know how many people actually celebrate. So maybe we don't do it tonight, or you show up just to see who's there. And
I can. I'm at my daughter's though, watching a baby and hanging out with my kids, so I don't mind not doing it tonight. So
I don't think anyone's gonna be mad.
okay.
So no TikTok tonight. Enjoy
Okay.
your families.
All right. Thanks. Happy Valentine's.
You too. Bye.